Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for our webinar today, Qt 5.6 LTS End of Life. My name is Erica, and I'm here to help you with any issues that you may come across with the Zoom console itself. So before I hand it over to our speakers today, I just want to do a couple small house cleaning items around that. First of all, we are recording this event, and we'll be making it available to everyone within a couple of business days, along with the slides that you see here. Also, if you have any questions, we will be taking them at the end. We ask that you enter them into the Q&A box that you should see at the bottom of your screen. With that, I'll hand it over to our speaker today, Andy Shaw, to take it from here.
Thank you, Erica. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Qt 5.6 LTS End of Life webinar. So just a brief overview as to what we will be covering today. So we'll start off with a brief introduction to Qt support and what it is that we do. Then I'll give some overview on the currently supported Qt versions, and then we'll go into more detail as to why Qt 5.6 is no longer supported with the end of life, and then options moving forward after that. And then at the end, you can ask us anything either related to this webinar or to any other questions that you might have related to Qt, either be it technical or non-technical. So feel free to put them in the Q&A box at any point, and we'll cover those at the end. So just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Andy Shaw. I'm part of the support team that we have across the world, which covers China, Finland, Japan, Norway, and US. I've been working with Qt since 2000 when I started with Trolltech, and I've been working in support in some capacity that entire time since then. So if you have been a commercial customer at any point, then and you've used support, then there's a good chance that we've had some sort of communication at some point. And Kati, who will just briefly introduce herself.
Okay, hello, I'm Kati, and I have been working with Qt since 2011, and I joined the Qt company 2013, and I have been working in support team since then, and I'm located in the US office.
Thank you, Kati. So just before, while we're on this page, I just want to have a quick chance to brag a bit about what our customers have been saying about support. So at the bottom, you can see we have the feedback from our customers in 2018. Which was given on a scale of 1 to 5. Basically, whenever a customer opens a support request with us, when it's resolved, they get an opportunity to leave us some feedback. And this is the average that has come from those results. The service level is referring to how they rate our service as a whole. Technical level is rating our technical ability for that particular case. And the answer time is based on how quickly they feel that it resolved as well. So you can see we scoring very high from our customers' point of view for 2018. So just to give more information on what support does and what we offer services-wise. So we have standard support, which is available with all commercial licenses. That gives a guaranteed response within 2 days for any emails. What this actually means is that even though we say it's a guaranteed response, we typically are able to reply to that much faster. So it's usually we can answer it around 24 hours or something like that. Cases that come into our queue, so they're picked up by a first in, first out sort of routine, picked up by the first available support engineer for the platform that it's reported against. So you'll get someone that is knowledgeable about the platform that you are reporting the case against. So the support is for the public Qt APIs, generally on how to achieve what it is you want to do with Qt. This can be in helping what classes to use or how to use them, what sort of functionality we provide, and also potentially how to get started in actually achieving what functionality you want to do in your application or library. For any bugs that are reported to us in the support, we will always try to find a workaround or a bug fix as soon as possible. We have a very high percentage rate on that, so we're doing pretty well. And then anything that we're unable to find a solution for, or that is still a bug in Qt, will be reported in our public bug tracker. and those bugs will be marked as being from a customer, so that gives them an increased visibility, and also it means that they have a higher priority for those bugs in the bug tracker. So it means that our team in R&D are aware that these are affecting a paying customer, and that means that they will be given priority in the order of when the bug will be fixed, as opposed to any other bug that might be reported inside the system. One of the other services that we provide is premium support. This is the same as what we have for the standard features that I just mentioned, except you get a guaranteed response in 1 business day. This is usually turns out to be same-day response, but we will give it the highest priority. So you can usually get a response on average between 1 or 2 hours as soon as the email has been sent in. You get a dedicated support engineer. This is someone that will handle all of your cases. This will be someone that's knowledgeable about the platforms that you're using. They'll have an understanding of what you're trying to do with your application, a better overall picture, so that they're able to make sure that their answers are tailored to what your needs have been in the past, and therefore can save a lot of time in trying to give you a tailored answer for your needs. As with any bugs being reported, they get a higher priority still, higher than the ones that are reported for standard support. And also that means that they're also higher than any of the other bugs in the bug tracker. So this makes it clear to customers that these are ones from our premium support customers, and giving them even more increased visibility. We also offer the full application code analysis and debugging. So normally with support, we send a small sample, but with premium support, we're able to look at your code as a whole, assuming that it's allowed, and debug it with you directly to try and figure out what is causing the problem. Likewise, we can do that by doing remote desktop assistance and do the troubleshooting with you directly, so that if you have a problem, you don't know what's causing it, then we can connect and work with you to try and work out what's going on, be it a problem in your application or in Qt. So the other service that we provide, which is related to what we'll talk about in a bit with 5.6, is extended lifetime support. This basically is providing support for a version of Qt which has reached end of life. So currently that is any version up to 5.8 and also 5.10, as all of those versions have currently reached end of life. This extended lifetime sits on top of the system support level that you have, be it standard support or premium support. So you would experience no loss of service in the level of support that you've been currently having. This basically just makes that version of Qt seem like a supported one from our perspective. So you'll get the same sort of level of support, be it with bugs or support requests, or needing application analysis, that sort of thing. And just to take a quick opportunity to mention something that's similar to what we're doing in support, but is done by a different team, which is the Qt Consultancy. We have a variety of services available. I won't go into any detail. We have requirement workshops. We can offer training, proof of concepts, indicate what's possible with Qt. If you have an idea, you want to see how well it would work. Workshops and other services, sort of UX design, implementation, and optimization of your application. We're able to tailor our services to what your needs are. So if you're interested in all and finding out more on that sort of thing, or if you have something you might be interested in taking further with us, then you can find out more on the link on the screen. So moving on to the versions overview. So as I said earlier, currently all of the versions up to 5.8 and also 5.10 are no longer supported. So currently what we actually support at this point in time, because Qt 5.13 will be released hopefully later this month, we currently support Qt 5.9, which is a long-term supported release until May next year, 2020. Qt 5.11, which is a normal release, which is supported until the end of this month. And Qt 5.12, which is another long-term supported release, and that's supported until December 2021. So the difference that we have here is that we have normal releases, which is the non-LTS ones. We typically have 2 of these in between each LTS series, so up between 5.9 and 5.12. We had 5.10 and 5.11, and these were both normal releases. And these are supported for 1 year to the day after the release of the .0 version. So 5.11, Qt 5.11.0 was released in May 2018, therefore it's supported until May 2019. A long-term supported release, aka LTS, they're supported for 3 years after the day of the release of the 0.0 version. So currently, as we have 2 LTS releases out, Qt 5.9, that was released in May 2017, and Qt 5.12, which was released in December of last year. So they're supported for much longer, which offers more stability as to the future versions going forward, as opposed to a normal one, which is designed to get feature releases out there more quickly. The pattern is typically that we do 2 releases in between every LTS one. So the plan is that Qt 5.13 and 5.14 will be normal releases, and then we'll have Qt 5.15, which will be in about 1.5 years, be the next LTS release. So Qt 5 sunsets. So as I said, this is one of the ones that reached end of life. So why is that the case now? Well, first of all, it was released on the 16th of March 2016. So as it was an LTS release, it means that it was supported for 3 years, and that meant it reached the end of life at the end of 16th of March 2019. It also has been since superseded by 2 LTS versions, both, as I mentioned before, 5.9 and 5.12. And also because Qt 5.6 was actually the first LTS release that we'd actually done in the Qt 5 series. So there's a bit of a learning experience for us as well, because we wanted to, it's the first time we were doing this, we wanted to do it correctly. But unfortunately, we had a bit of a learning curve. So we did only do 3 releases after the 5.6.0 release, which means we only got up to 5.6.3. We have since learned from this, of course, because Qt 5.9 is currently on Qt 5.9.8, and there are more planned to come. And with Qt 5.12, we have 3 releases already, and then more to come with Qt 5.12.4 is already due at the end of this month. So we've used the lessons we've learned from the Qt 5.6 process to improve the LTS release process for the future. And this meant that, of course, that the more releases we have, we're able to make it more and more stable. And that means that if those of you that need something to be able to stay with a version for a long time, this is something you can come to rely on. So if you're on Qt 5.6 or any other non-supported version, then what are the options moving forward? So the easiest option is to basically just move to Qt 5.12. The reason I say 5.12 over 5.9 in this case is because 5.12, of course, will be supported until December 2021. So you have a good amount of time to support with it still before you have to worry about going through this process again should you need to. Qt 5.12 is also source and binary compatible with Qt 5.6, which means that you don't have to do anything apart from just update your version of Qt. And then you can, if you're on Windows, for instance, you can just run the application without having to rebuild anything. But usually you just have to compile your application against the new version, but you don't have to change any line of code. All of your existing code will still work as it was before. Qt 5.12 also has a lot of new features over Qt 5.6. We have a much improved Qt 3D module where we have added a lot more new features and made the performance a lot better. It was just starting out in Qt 5.6 time, so now it's a lot better. So if you're using that, then that's a very good reason to move to Qt 5.12. We also have added a lot more modules since 5.6. So we have one to highlight is the Qt Quick Controls 2 module, which is superseding Qt Quick Controls. This is also very useful, very much tailored for embedded platforms as well. It performs much better than Qt Quick Controls 1. So again, it's another good reason to move to Qt 5.12 if you are using any of those things, or if any of this particular technology is appealing to your needs in your application. So as you can see, let's do slide here. This is to show one of the improvements that we have had since 5.6. This is the QML engine memory uses in megabytes. So you can see Q5.6 on the left, it was just shy of 35 megabytes. In comparison to, first we'll compare to 5.9 with that, which was obviously it was an improvement to 5.9, but Qt 5.12 with the precompiled QML, obviously it's a vast improvement. This is similar to what it was with Qt 5.6 with the Qt Quick compiler. In 5.6, that functionality, of course, was only available for commercial customers, but now it's available to any user of Qt 5.12. So you can see that this is obviously a vast improvement, even if you weren't using the, even if you were using the Qt Quick compiler before. You can see that there's obviously a big improvement from Qt 5.6. The main reason for this, of course, is that we have added more support for things into Qt 5.12, and that's also a gain that means that you don't have to change any of your code to get this improvement. You just switch out 5.6 with 5.12, and you get this improvement without having to modify a single line of code. So what we have here, this is a JavaScript performance benchmark. This was done at the time of the 5.12 beta, so there have been improvements done since with this, but this is just to make it clear that this was actually done at that particular point. Now you can see in comparison to 5.6 and also for 5.9, this is a vast improvement, especially on the total score, where you can see there's a very big improvement overall, with the score for 5.6 was set to 100, so you can see the difference between. The actual total score improvement between 5.6 and 5.12 in this case is 2,187%, which is an incredible increase in performance. This clearly shows, of course, in applications that have been using 5.6 versus 5.12. Yes, we've clearly been focusing a lot on memory and performance improvements on the QML side. And again, as I point out, as before, you gain this without having to change a single line of your code. All you need to do is switch 5.6 with 5.12, and then you get these improvements out of the box. There's nothing you need to turn on automatically to make this happen. And then the last benchmark I want to show you, this is again based on 5.12. This is a summary of other QML benchmark tests that we have, comparing 5.6.3, 5.9, and 5.12. This again was done at the time of the beta, so we were aware of some performance regressions at this point. They have since been resolved, and we're also continuing to improve this as much as we can with each patch release of 5.12. So even though we've released the 5.12.0, we are continuing to make improvements to make it better and better. So you can see, even though we were aware of those issues, there's clearly improvement across the board for the most part compared to 5.6 and also to 5.9. And again, as I said before, this is without changing a single line of code. You just use 5.12 in place of 5.6 or whatever earlier version that you were using. So the other option is that you can actually stay with Qt 5.6. If you currently are using it, be it as a commercial customer or as a non-commercial customer, then you're not obviously forced to upgrade. You can continue to use 5.6. The only thing it means that there will not be any more releases to it, but it doesn't mean that it's going to stop working all of a sudden. So you're able to continue to use 5.6 as you were before. It's just means that there's no support for it out of the box. We do offer extended lifetime support for this, as I explained earlier as to what it was, for those with a commercial license. So if you want support for Qt 5.6, then you are able to get that on top of your existing support license, be it support, standard support or premium support. With extended lifetime, in this case, it will actually enable you to continue to get support for the platforms that were supported in 5.6 that are no longer available now, which is, for instance, Windows Embedded, deploying on Windows to Windows XP and to Windows Vista, and Mac OS 10.8 and 10.9. So that won't change if you use extended lifetime support and you have a problem on one of those platforms. We will support it as if it was still normally supported for you. So you get the same level of support as you would have before. Therefore, with extended lifetime, it enables you to continue to use this version with the same level of confidence as any other supported version. So if you happen to switch for some reason between an application that's built with 5.6 that you still need to maintain versus a new one with 5.12, from our perspective, with extended lifetime, we will give you this same level of support and will help you as much as possible in both cases. So from your perspective, you would not notice any difference in service. If you find a bug in the 5.6 version or the other non-supported version and you have extended lifetime, then we will investigate it as normal and we will also try to find a fix and a workaround. If there happens to be, if it's already fixed in a later version of Qt, then we will endeavor to try and backport that patch for you so that you can use it against the version of Qt that you need to work with. And so you can expect to get the same level of high support that you would be getting from the support team as you would have had before. So that is all of the information I have to give about Qt 5.6 in this webinar. So now I'm open to any questions that you have, be it about the webinar or any technical questions or anything about Qt. Feel free to just ask me anything you want and I'll endeavor to answer as best as possible.
Okay, we have already questions in the Q&A box. The first question is, will all questions regarding issues on the 5.6 platform require extended support contract?
For the most part, yes. We are a bit nice if you have a build issue, for instance, if you're trying to build your application or your or Qt, for instance, with 5.6, then we will try to help you anyway. But if it's anything else beyond that sort of thing, then you will need to have the extended lifetime support on top of whatever support license you have.
And then kind of similar, with extended lifetime support, will any patches that you send be put into a Qt 5.6 release?
Out of the box, patches that we provide for 5.6 will not be in an official release of Qt 5.6. However, if you really need an officially built package so that you can install it as you have done in before, like via the offline installer, for instance, then what we can do is, if you have premium support as well as extended lifetime, then we can actually create that package for you that includes the patches that you need. So you have the option there if that's what you require in that sense. But with support, we will actually help you build Qt anyway as part of normal support. So if you want to go that route, then we will be happy to help you with that as well.
Okay, and the next one is, does 5.12 offer any significant performance improvements for Cute Widgets versus 5.6?
That's a good question. We have not done any benchmarking, so I can't say hand on heart that we have anything that you would call significant. We have made improvements performance-wise, but it's not on the level of the QML performance, namely because we have a lot more ways we can improve on the QML side, because obviously we're using JavaScript as the engine there. So, but however, I can say we have improved things, but I can't say exactly by how much they've been improved on the widget side. But
okay, then about Visual Studio 2019, will it be supported in Qt 5.12?
Visual Studio 2019 will, what I can say is that we might not officially support it in 5.12, namely because that would require that we put it through the automatic testing system, and that usually only happens with a new minor release. But what we would probably be able to say is that we would endeavor to make sure that it works with 5.12 because it's an important platform, it's an important compiler. So if there were any problems to come with using it, and I believe already some of our developers are already using it anyway, then we would likely make sure that those are resolved for the next release of Qt 5.12 as a result. My understanding is that it's binary compatible with Visual Studio 2017, so that's usually a good indication that it's going to work out of the box anyway.
Good, thank you. Then we have a little bit longer question here. So we recently upgraded to Qt 5.12.3 and have discovered a new virtual keyboard plugin being copied into our macOS app bundle by Macdeploy Qt. We don't use this component, and it also brings QML and Qt Quick frameworks. So is there any way to eliminate it from our app bundle?
Yes, there's two ways of doing this. First of all, just a bit of background. The reason it's automatically copied for the Qt Virtual Keyboard plugin is copied is because it's considered to be an element that's attached to the GUI module. Therefore, if it's available, if it's been installed or if it's been built as part of your version of Qt, then it will decide it needs to copy it because it does not able to tell with the Macdeploy Qt tool if it actually needs to install it or not, because the application might need it and the application might not use it. There's no way for it to know. So if you don't want it to be copied, then you have two options. One is to remove the libqt virtual keyboard plugin library from your Qt plugins platform input context directory. If you do a search for libqt virtual keyboard.dylib, then you'll find it. If you just remove that file, then that will prevent it from copying that plugin and also the dependencies for it as well. The other option is to, if you don't want to remove it from the pack, there you can also just remove that and the dependencies manually from the app bundle afterwards. But it's an issue that I've been thinking about. I think we can probably improve the Macdeploy Qt tool to make it more optional so that we can actually explicitly turn that off as a command line option to prevent having to remove it manually in the future.
Good. Then about, again, Qt Quick application, how to speed up the startup of a Qt Quick application?
Well, there's a number of ways that you can do it. First of all, this answer might not cover everything, but there is some documentation about it in our documentation as to ways to improve the performance. So I suggest that you have a look afterwards to see if there's anything that might be more relevant for your needs. But the main ones is, there's two main ways that are very easy to achieve. First of all, you can use the Qt Quick compiler, which I said earlier was part of 5.12 already now, as available to all. It's easy to turn this on. You can, if you're using Qt Creator, there's an option inside your project build settings that will automatically be on for you if you use Qt Creator in release mode. But if you're not using Qt Creator, you can add it with config plus equals Qt Quick compiler, and then that will turn it on for you. And the other quick way to do it is to, instead of creating everything at the very beginning, is that you can use the loader QML type to delay something to be loaded until you actually need it. So I recommend having a look at that particular documentation for more information, and also looking for the Qt Quick performance. I think if you search for that on .qt.io, you'll find the documentation that will also go into much more detail on this topic as well.
Thank you. Excellent. Then about what are the biggest gotchas to watch out when migrating from 5.6 to 5.12?
Well, as I said earlier, you don't have to change any code at all. So the only thing you really need to make sure is that there are some platforms which I mentioned that are no longer supported. So you just need to make sure that the compiler you're using and the platform you're on are still covered as being supported. If they are, then there's nothing really to worry about it. You just need to do a general check to make sure your application still works and there's not any bugs that we may have missed. But the expectation is that it should just work as it was before. You should obviously see some improvements, and that there's some bugs that you may not have been aware of have been resolved, and that it performs better. But there's not really any gotchas per se that you have to watch out for, because we try to take care to make sure everything continues to work as well as it did before.
Good. We don't have many questions left, but there is one more, at least now. So we have a Qt Quick application that contains multiple editable text fields. And when I want to edit one of the fields, the virtual keyboard appears, but the text field remains under the input panel, so I cannot see what I'm writing. All the entries are anchored one to other. Is there a way to scroll this?
Yes, fortunately you have to do the scroll manually. When the virtual keyboard pops up, it doesn't do anything to readjust like it does on Android or iOS, for instance. You obviously see it automatically with the soft keyboard. It pushes the item up so you can see. But when you're using the Qt virtual keyboard, this does not happen automatically. So what you need to do is you need to connect to when the keyboard is shown, and then automatically adjust your item to make sure it's visible. Depending on if you have it in a scroll view or something like that, you can obviously just move the contents up, and then it will make it available then. I believe in the example that we have provided as part of the Qt virtual keyboard, if you look at the boot to Qt version of that particular example, I believe that there's some code in there that indicates a similar scenario where it will shift the item up. So you can always have a look at that for an indication as to an easy way to do it. But the key thing is that you have to actually manually move the items yourself to make them visible. So it's handy to have it in a scroll view or something like that, so it's easy to move them up in that situation.
Thank you. Then one more. When does support for Cumec end in favor of CMake?
The support for when it's going to end still hasn't officially been decided yet. It will, at least, for the very least, it will be supported throughout the entire time of Qt 5. So as long as Qt 5 is supported, it will still continue to be supported. It's not, my understanding is that it still hasn't been 100% decided what the plan for Qt 6 is. Although the indication is that we will move to CMake, it doesn't actually mean that we will drop support for Cumec at the same time. It's still quite possible, and also my personal opinion, likely that Cumec will still work because there are a lot of people out there using it. So it's likely that they will coexist side by side for a while. The only thing that would majorly change, even then, is that CMake would be the main tool that was used for building Qt itself, as opposed to Cumec, which is the main tool being used at the moment. So, but just to make it clear, there hasn't been a final decision actually communicated yet. This is still something that the community, in conjunction with the Qt company, is working on to see if it's viable to switch to Cumec as a whole anyway. But rest assured, there's still plenty of time yet before support for Cumec will end. Just talking quite a few years left, because 5.5 will be a long-term supportive release, so you can expect it to be around for quite a few years yet. Sorry, 5.15 I should say, just to clarify, I did not mean 5.5.
Okay, thank you. It seems that that's all the questions we have.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. We appreciate your time. As I said at the beginning, we have recorded this event. We'll be making it available within the next couple business days. And thank you again, Andy and Kati, for putting everything together. Hope to see you at an event in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.